Amy. It's really great to see you again.
It's nice to see you too. I'm excited for the session.
Great. Yes, me too. So it's been about a week since we last spoke. I just wanted to get like a mood check-in. How are you feeling today? How have you been feeling the last week?
I feel like it's kind of gotten almost a little bit worse over the past week. A lot of, just a lot of thoughts cycling. Today I'm feeling a little down, so that's why I'm excited to come see you.
Yeah, of course. So you say you're feeling a little bit down today. Anything specific or just like an overall feeling of?
It's kind of just an overall feeling. I kind of feel like I have like weight on my chest almost, like something's like putting me down.
Yeah, kind of like a physical.
Yeah, like a physical reaction.
Maybe like a physical anxiety.
Yes, kind of like a little bit of anxiety, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to, before we get into the session, talk about what's been going on, do some CBT. I just wanted to give you kind of a blanket diagnosis I've been working with for what we spoke about last session. So I have the DSM-5 here, which is a diagnostic manual, and I want to diagnose you with generalized anxiety disorder.
Okay.
And so some of this criteria that you do meet would be, excessive anxiety and worry occurring more days than not for at least 6 months, about a number of events or activities such as work or school performance, which, and again, correct me if I'm wrong with anywhere, but, you have been in grad school for over 6 months, and that's been a lot of the cause of your worry. And then, you find the individual finds it difficult to control the worry. The anxiety and worry are associated with 3 or more of the following 6 symptoms, with at least six symptoms have been present for more days than not for the past 6 months. Being easily fatigued.
Yes, 100%. So tired.
Difficulty concentrating, mind going blank.
Yes.
Irritability.
Yes.
Muscle tension.
Yes. My physically.
Yeah, of course. Sleep disturbance.
Yes. I'm having trouble staying asleep.
Okay. Yes. And then the anxiety, worry, or physical symptoms cause clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, other important areas of functioning.
100%, yeah.
So, that's the criteria for generalized anxiety disorder, GAD. Those were the ones that, you have to have the 6. That's what I felt that you had. So just like to talk about that in the sense of what we can do with that information and like how we can proceed using CBT.
Okay.
So at least a lot of your anxiety was school related. And so I just want to talk about, how those thoughts that you're having, we like to call those thoughts the automatic thoughts.
Okay.
So like when you, for an example, you were telling me about when you raised your hand in class. Yes, I know it's a hard one. Yeah. It's a hard one to think back on. That you raised your hand in class and you got the answer wrong, and you just felt like everyone had their eyes on you.
Yes.
And that anxious automatic thought is something that I want to work on, acknowledging and evaluating and seeing if we can, get control over those emotions. Is that something you'd be interested in working on?
Yeah, I actually, throughout the past week, was able to kind of notice when I would have an anxious thought, and I didn't really do anything with it, but I definitely was able to acknowledge that, like, okay, maybe this right here is one of those things that Miss Jacqueline was talking about, that like this is an automatic thought I just had, or I'm super anxious, and I just didn't really know what to do with that,
Of course, I'm so proud of you for, acknowledging that, because, it can be very, you're already so far ahead in our program that you can, understand what's just a thought and like what's truth, because sometimes when you have that negative voice in your head, it can just, feel like it's the only
answer. That's what's right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. So I'm really proud of you for acknowledging that. Do you have any examples you want to give me?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, like when I got a grade back and I had just forgotten to do a complete section of the entire assignment. Not even forgot, I just didn't do it, or I must have not seen it. I was like, oh my gosh, like, how could I have been so dumb? Like, it was right there. It was right in front of my face. Like, how could I not do it? And then I noticed, I was like, okay, this might be an anxious thought right now. And like, this isn't the end of the world, maybe, but...
Maybe.
But... yeah, I definitely, that, I guess, yeah, that could be an example. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, let's look at that with the cognitive behavior model.
Okay.
And so I remember
yeah, what's the cognitive behavior model?
Yeah, of course. I gave you that. You have your homework with you, right?
Yeah, I did look at it, but I just
pull it out, would you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, here it is. It's
yes,
right here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's use this. Okay, so we have this kind of diagram about how CBT works visually. So we have your thoughts that connects to your feelings, to your behaviors, which back to your thoughts. It's all interconnected. Now, before I put words in your mouth, are there any kind of thoughts, feelings, or behaviors that come to you first when you think about that instance of getting that? Getting that bad assignment. Great.
Yeah. So I think the thought was, I didn't do this assignment correctly. I'm so stupid and dumb. Like literally so dumb. And then my feeling was, I felt sad. I felt bad about myself, inadequate. And then I think my behavior from it was that I just like stayed in all weekend and just felt bad and like guilty almost if I would have gone and done something, because why do I deserve to do something if I had just failed at a very simple task?
I see.
So
that
might be a little dramatic, but
hey, there's no such thing as dramatics in here. This is this is about how you feel and how we're interpreting your experiences. But again, you are so self-aware in the sense that you can pinpoint these actions.
I definitely noticed. I was like that my thoughts were negative. I was having negative, what'd you call it, negative self-talk?
Negative self-talk.
I remember you saying that, and I was like, I think this is happening right now.
Okay, so great for you to acknowledge that. Now what we can do to work on this is, let's just acknowledge that it's not the situation that's making you feel these anxious and self-negative thoughts. It's the feelings that you're having during the situation.
Okay.
So just want you to know that's not, in retrospect, it's not that you got that bad grade. It's, the thoughts, the feelings that came from that core action event. So we're going to try to reframe those first initial thoughts.
Okay.
So how we're going to do that is I'm going to have another piece of homework for you, and we're going to work on it together. And then you're going to look back on it and read it when like something similar like this is happening, or you need those kind of reinforcements. So you want me to write it? You want to? Or
I think you can write it.
I can write it? Okay. So when I criticize myself, and this can be for school, this can be in personal scenarios, these are just when you're feeling bad, when you're doing self-talk, we're going to talk about the real thoughts that are coming from it, stuff that you and I have come together. So an example that I'm feeling is, you're not, you said this in our first session, I'm not judging other people the way I'm judging myself.
Okay, yes.
Yep.
I remember saying that.
You said that during the raising your hand
example,
scenario. So we're going to add that first one right here. So when I criticize myself, I'm not judging other people the way I'm judging myself. Is there anything else, a feeling or thought that you have?
No.
No? Okay. That's all right too.
Yeah.
That's all right too. And what about, you're not necessarily being fair on yourself?
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, I'm definitely not being fair when I do that. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not being fair. So we're going to keep this here.
Okay.
And then I'm going to give this to you.
Okay.
And I want you to try to reread it next time you're having those thoughts. And as more thoughts come, I want you to write them down.
Okay, so it's not like when I criticize myself, I'm saying like I read this when I am criticizing myself.
It's
okay. I see. Yeah.
So now that you have your homework, I just want to again ask if there's anything else you want to talk about, any instances of things that happen, or just anything on your mind.
No, but I'll try and notice more this week, I guess, to bring it to you next week.
Yeah, for sure. As little or as much as you want to talk to me about, this is for you.
Yeah.
This is what you need.
I need
what you want. It's great to see you again this week, Amy. I'll see you same time next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.